All right, so we're starting tonight with our finals for our first inaugural Corona Cup. And while the guys are getting their asteroids set up, we thought we'd talk about their list. So, Mark, you want to start with Cameron's
Yeah,
list here?
yeah. I'll start with Cameron here. So Cameron's running a Sloan Swarm. Some lists in X-Wing just have to be built around a singular card, and this is one of them. You could call it a theme list. So he's running Rear Admiral Chirno with Ruthless, which let me just say how excited I am to see Ruthless in a finals match. Shield Upgrade and Admiral Sloan. Uh, Important to note, Admiral Sloan is after another friendly ship at range 0 to 3 if Chirano defends. If it's destroyed, the attacker gets 2 stress tokens, and then everyone within range 0 to 3 of Chirpy gets to re-roll an attack dice against stressed ships. And so, as you might imagine from that card, the rest of Cameron's list is just 5 Academy pilot TIE fighters ready to be destroyed and pile stress on the opponent.
Awesome. So I'll talk about Brandon's list since I made it for him and made him fly it. At least the first three rounds. I didn't make him fly it the last two in the cut, but he's doing so well with it. Why
Man,
mess with it?
when you're undefeated, why change your list?
So first he's got Obi-Wan, uh, and Obi-Wan's ability is if you have a friendly ship at 0 to 2, which includes himself, if they spend a focus token, you may spend one force, and that ship gains a focus token. So this is an awesome ability, particularly if you have a CLT list like this is, where they could spend their focus on defense. Obi-Wan can flip a force, they get the focus back, and then they can spend it on offense, or vice versa. And of course, he has CLT and R5 Astromech. So the deal with R5 is unlike R2, you're not weapons disabled, but you are spending an action. So they could still fine tune, but they'd have to spend an action to use regen. And we have seen Brandon use a lot of regen in this tournament because you get your points back. Um, R5 lets you basically get rid of a damage card. So since they're CLTs, they're three hull and only one shield. I thought R5 made more sense than R2 anyway, and it's cheaper. And then he's got Plo Koon. So Plo Koon's ability is at the start of the engagement phase, you may spend one force and choose another friendly ship at range 0 to 2. Sound familiar? If you do, you may transfer one green token to it or transfer one orange token from it to yourself. So Plo Koon in general makes more sense with ships flying the R2 astromech because he can hang out in the periphery. They could do an R2, get their weapons disabled token. He could focus, spend a force, and switch it. Give them the focus token and take their weapons disarmed. So he could conceivably help a really damaged ship continue to stay in the fight and stay alive. But really, the reason I put it in the list was not because of his ability. It's just because he was I5. That's the only value I really saw in it.
No, he's still been making good use of it through the tournament.
Yeah, he has. And then Ahsoka, which has been really fun to watch. Ahsoka's got a great ability.
I love Ahsoka.
After you fully execute a maneuver, you may choose a friendly ship at range 0 to 1 and spend one force. The ship may perform an action, even if it's stressed. So the key about that is it's 0 to 1. So she can give an action to a stress ship that's either her or within range 1. We've seen that with Brandon's list come into play with Broadside, who has a pretty cruddy dial. So actually, we'll go ahead and go to Broadside. So Broadside, his ability is when you perform a turret attack, and he's got ion cannon turret on him. If your arc indicator is in your left or right arc, you may change one blank result to an eyeball. And that sounds okay, but if you think about it in context, with an ion cannon turret, you're going to roll 3 dice. Your average roll is going to be hit, eyeball, blank. If you focus, you turn one of those blanks into an eyeball, and then you're at 3 hits.
Right.
So even though he's I3, it doesn't really hurt him that bad. If someone's out of range when he gets to take his action, he can still take a focus and either choose to use it in a dire defensive position or to really modify a good attack. And we've seen Brandon ionize like Vader, for example, to much
Right.
effect. So I'm not sure that will come into play as much in this game.
He's
But
certainly going to have a harder time of it.
he's going to have a harder time with it because it doesn't make much sense to ionize a TIE fighter. If he could ionize Rack, though, that could be a big deal because Rack wants to reinforce every turn if possible.
Right. Although it's going to take him probably at least 2 turns to ionize.
Right.
I mean, he can do it at range 1 if he pulls into range 1. It's not actually too unlikely with Broadside's pilot ability, but
well, the thing is, he could even do it at range 2 because Rack has 0 defense dice.
That's true, but one of those is always going to be a damage, don't forget.
Oh, that's right. So more likely, if he's at range 1 and he rolls all paint, then he has a focus. Or
right,
he rolls all paint and one blank. Right.
That's why it's not too unlikely if he manages to pull into range 1 with Broadside. That said, if by the time he gets there, Broadside will probably be hurting. I can't think that Brandon just wants to park Broadside in front of 5 ties and Rack.
Right.
We're probably going to see Brandon doing a little bit of what he likes to do, which is go in with Ahsoka and just keep Broadside a little bit on the outside. But it sounds like they're about ready to go. Charles, you have any predictions on the winner here?
You ride, you stay on the horse you rode with, or you stay with the one who brought you, whatever metaphor you want to go with. I mean, I gave Brandon this list. He's been undefeated. I think he really has a head for this kind of list. I wanted to make a list that was competitive if you played it skillfully, and he's definitely done that. I think the CLTs are going to do a good job against Rack, a large space ship that's going to come into play.
That's certainly true. Yeah.
And so I just given, and no offense to Cameron, who's a really nice guy and a very good local player, I just feel like Brandon's going to likely take it home. What about you?
I have to say that my money, I don't know where to put my money. I certainly think it would be more interesting if Cameron won. I have yet to see a Sloan Swarm, something with Ruthless, do so well. I think it's the more interesting list.
Mm-hmm.
And Ahsoka is one thing because of her pilot ability, but I certainly don't want to be one of these Jedi getting double stressed. You can't fine tune, you can't protect yourself. That could be a very dead Jedi very quickly. So we're just going to have to see.
I think the only ship that would be pretty okay, 2 ships would be okay with being double stressed briefly. I think that'd be Broadside and Ahsoka.
Well, and a note too that I don't think Brandon has used Plo Koon extensively in this, but Plo Koon's existence is a big boon for him right here because, for example, if Obi-Wan gets double stressed, Plo Koon can still toss him a focus that Obi-Wan can use his force to reach.
Right.
That's a big deal, and it lets Brandon be a little bit more aggressive with some of his more vulnerable ships.
Right.
But we can see here the players Cameron just kind of starting to swing in with those 2 TIE fighters on the left. He'll probably swing up a little bit more around with those other TIE fighters on the right. I mean, the thing to remember is that with Admiral Sloan, it's not like a Howl Runner range 0 to 1 thing. Admiral Sloan works at 0 to 3. So he has to keep his ties orbiting around Rack, but he doesn't have to be too close. So he has a little bit of room to maneuver here, and that room is probably going to be very helpful for him.
Yeah.
Cameron rotating his turret for Rack to the left, right, probably indicating that he'll be going straight next turn.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that Cameron anticipated Ahsoka coming in quite as hard as she is.
Yeah, I doubt he did, but I mean, she can do 3 bank boost, right? And
I apologize. That's Obi-Wan coming in real fast.
Right.
Ahsoka's backed by broadside. Okay.
So, Mark, I mean, every game you and I are going to take turns figuring out who's Obi Wan
Right.
and who's Ahsoka.
100%. Yeah. Come on, Brandon. Make it easier for us. But this makes sense. He's keeping Plo by Obi-Wan, so that Plo can support Obi-Wan in case he just happens to pop a tie and get double stressed while he can run away. And then Ahsoka by broadside, so Ahsoka can feed broadside actions if necessary.
So, I really like Brandon's setup here, honestly, because
Yeah.
he could destroy some Tie fighters. Cameron is an aggressive player.
Yeah,
And
he's an extremely aggressive player.
so he could destroy some Tie fighters. Yeah, he could take some stress, but then the rest of
Right.
the bulk of Cameron's squad is still on the other side of the map. I know Rack could do a 3 hard. That's his fastest hard turn. It's white.
Right.
But
Well,
go ahead.
something else to consider here is Cameron just turned Rack's arc to left right. So
Right.
when we might be thinking here that Rack is going to do a hard turn to the left
That's
and
exactly
kind of
right.
come in behind those two TIE fighters, Cameron's kind of signaling, unless he's doing a fake out, Cameron's signaling with that move that he's not intending to do that.
Right. I mean,
You know,
he'd be wasting an action, which is
right.
precious on Rack.
Right. So I could almost see Cameron doing a 5 straight with those leftmost TIE fighters.
Mm-hmm.
You do a 5 straight, you kind of put that gas cloud between you and Plo Koon and Obi-Wan, and then all of a sudden you're in spitting distance of Ahsoka and Broadside, who, frankly, are your more likely targets to kill.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Ahsoka only has 2 force, is not going to be in range of Plo, is not going to be within range of Obi-Wan for regenerating focuses, probably at this point. And I mean, those ties will go through Broadside like absolutely nothing else.
Right.
It's not, I mean, it's unlikely, but it's not inconceivable that Broadside dies in 1 round of shooting.
I don't think he will with this formation because it's going to take 3 turns, I think, for these TIE fighters to get back together realistically. They're too fast. Right. You know, if they had a 1 and a 4, then they could do it. But
and that's where Brandon flies this list very well, because he doesn't charge Broadside in. Mm-hmm. He tries to predict where the engagement will happen and then just lazily runs Broadside around to take pot shots when you wander into his range on the 3rd round of shooting.
Right.
And by that time, I think he's counting on most players being so invested. Maybe they've taken a shield off of Obi. Maybe they've done some damage to Ahsoka. I think he counts on players being very invested in the damage that they've already done. Mm-hmm. And so they're chasing the Jedi and not Broadside. And Broadside is pretty free and clear.
Right.
That said, there's that gap in that gas clouds where Obi's pointing that Broadside might not have a lot of protection.
Right. I think Brandon's going to come in here, focus down TIE fighters. He's going to have the clouds. And it's not going to, yes, he's going to get stressed when he destroys a TIE fighter. But it's really not going to hurt him that much.
So Cameron moves and he barrel rolls that TIE behind the gas clouds.
It's interesting.
I'm not sure why. Is he trying to clear space he might be just trying to clear space for the rest of his formation. Mm-hmm. But it seems like a strange move because Obi-Wan might be coming in, Ahsoka might be coming in, and that's a vulnerable TIE fighter. Now, I will say sometimes people who fly these lists, these Sloan lists, the TA-175 droid swarm lists, mm-hmm. They are not afraid to hang a single ship out as bait.
Right.
Take a shot, maybe you kill it, and you start the chain reaction that you're looking for. So Cameron may not be too worried here about this TIE fighter just kind of out in the middle of nowhere. But it's going to take some shots. And the problem is that I don't know that TIE fighter, if Brandon manages to smoke that TIE fighter in this round of shooting, there's not going to be a whole lot of opportunistic return fire from the rest of the TIEs.
That's exactly right. That's why I like this setup.
That's a problem.
Yeah, I mean, I like the setup with the clouds. He's basically isolated half the list over here. Yeah. If he gets,
Right.
his list doesn't utilize stress like say rebels to
Hmm.
do things. They
Right.
they spend the force to get the extra action, so they're not going to be stressed. So when one of them
Right.
kills a Tie Fighter, they're going to have 2 stress, which means they're stressed for 1 turn.
And that's the turn where if Cameron wins this game, that's the turn he kills him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and this is Cameron's big advantage here. At the end of the day, when you take away their a completely crazy ability to move around after they move for no stress, their dials are just okay for
Mm-hmm.
getting rid of stress.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can't reposition, that's going to be a big problem.
Oh, I've thought about this quite a bit. I think the designers basically wanted to say you can have an open dial if you want to take R4 Astromech, or
Right.
you can have regen. And I do
Right.
like that balance kind of design because regen is
It's interesting.
predatory, but it does give them, um, you basically have a choice when you're building it. You also have the choice with the configuration, right? So they
Right.
made a very adaptable platform, which is neat.
That said, so Rack Bump's trying to do a 3 bank.
Wow.
That said, it doesn't look like Cameron is really going to be punished with that yellow TIE fighter. Obi, I don't think, has him in arc. Yep, just that one Academy pilot at range 3 who has a
Mm-hmm.
focus and not in bullseye, so pushing damage here might be a little difficult. But that one yellow TIE fighter probably just going to be in non-bullseye of Ahsoka at range 3. So maybe you take a damage, maybe you take 2, but I don't think you die.
Oh, I agree. I think it'll take a damage maybe, or
But then
nothing.
next turn he can one hard turn and they can kind of come in.
I'm surprised he modified that. Huh.
So you spend your focus. Maybe he just wanted Cameron to spend his focus.
Hey, that's
Yeah,
something.
if I were a Brandon, that's all I'm looking to get out of this. He has his focus for defense still, so it's not a big deal. He's only going to get shot once. I don't see why you wouldn't.
Right.
And so we got Ahsoka shooting at range 3, like we talked about, at this focusless tie. Maybe he does a point of damage or 2. I don't think Cameron's worried about it either way. I mean, Brandon debating whether he wants to spend his focus for hit crit and a possible dead tie. Or I guess also do you spend your force? I don't think you spend your force here. You spend your focus. But no, he's spending his force, so that's a forceless Ahsoka for hit crit. Cameron gets 4 defense dice and just 1 crit coming through.
He had to spend his force because he's got an evade token.
Oh, that an evade token. Oh, okay. That's a direct hit on that tie. So down to 1 health there, which
It's perfect
would
for
not have
broadside.
happened.
It's a perfect for a broadside shot next turn.
Right. Yeah, would not have happened if he had had that focus token, but that's very unfortunate there. So Cameron just going to take some pot shots. Again, it's pretty unlikely he's going to do any damage here, especially with no mods. But it is not impossible.
No, we've seen Brandon roll blanks, but
he's not rolling blanks now. And Ahsoka with that evade token will.
I
also
would say
probably
it's nigh impossible.
It is nigh impossible, especially when you don't roll any hits. All right. Once again, that tie wishes for a focus token. That said, this turn looks to be interesting. Cameron now in a pretty good position. He has that tie down to 1 health. That is a little unfortunate. It leaves Brandon able to kind of pick and choose who kills it to make sure that the Sloan stress doesn't go on anybody bad. Another problem for Cameron is that his rack is kind of just out in the middle of nowhere there with his arc still pointed left to right. I'll note too, something to consider with reinforce is that you don't generally want to strafe around shooting out left and right when you reinforce every turn.
Right.
And that's because there's no, and this may have been, I think sometimes that this may have been a design failure. but there's no port and starboard reinforce. There's only the front and back. So you really want to be hitting them from the front and then running away and hitting them out the back so that you can maximize your potential for the reinforced protection and Rack's pilot ability. So Cameron here is in a little bit of an odd place. And he's going to have to move his arc front back if he wants to go straight at him, which means he's not going to get an action that turn. That said, he's in a pretty interesting spot in terms of blocking. Obi-Wan has to be thinking very, very hard about what maneuver he's going to make. He can't do a 5 straight unless he's willing to hit that gas cloud, which he might be. Jedi are ludicrous, so he would be able to hit that gas cloud and still do a booster barrel roll.
Yeah, he could do a 2 straight. He could do a 2 bank. He could do a 3 bank. I like the 2 bank.
Yeah, it's interesting. Cameron, if he reads that Brandon might just be, running away with Obi-Wan, Plo Koon still a little bit out there. Cameron might just turn in on Broadside and Ahsoka here.
Right.
The problem is that his back 2 ties are still a little bit far away.
Right. I mean,
I could see just a 1 hard turn from Yellow and 3 banks from some of the rest of the ties to the left, try and catch Plo and Obi coming around.
So
that would be an interesting move.
If I'm Brandon, I'm concerned the Yellow's going to go for a block. And the reason why is because Yellow's only got 1 health. So what's the best thing he could do this turn? Is go for some kind of block. But the best ship he could block is probably Ahsoka.
And Cameron can't do that because then if he goes for the block, Broadside is probably going to be very easily kill him.
Mm-hmm.
And he will be well out of range for Admiral Sloane to prop.
Right.
He needs to keep that tie within range 0 to 3 of Sloane, which means I'm expecting a 1 hard turn with that Yellow tie. Maybe clear that gas cloud.
So there's a 2 bank for red.
So he looks like he's going in on Broadside, which I think could be the right call here.
Mm-hmm.
He's also denying a few moves to Obi. There's that 1 hard turn, did not hit the rock. That's good for him. He can finally take a focus, setting up a little bit of a overlapping fields of fire here, take pot shots where he can get them. And I'm expecting the rest of these ties, just to go pretty far and fast forward, clear some room for Rack to move in.
They only went 3 and 4, which surprised me. I think for Brandon, it's going to give him good cover with clouds.
Yeah. It also, unfortunately, is not enough room for Rack to turn in.
I think personally,
but Rack might just be going.
I think after he bumped on the 3 bank, I think he thought the 3 bank was going to clear. I don't think it was just a throwaway maneuver. But once it broke, I think he decided he's going to go straight, which actually I think is the better route for him. Yeah,
the 3 banks certainly would have screwed up all of his ties maneuvering this turn. So Broadside, just kind of coming out, getting ready to he'll probably try to just pop that Yellow tie. And Ahsoka being a little cautious, doing that 2 bank so they can come in and then she can barrel roll whichever way she wants.
Yeah, I almost think Ahsoka may fine tune left.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, he just focused.
Yeah, I think that's fair. He can take a pot shot here, and then he can have a little bit more freedom to go where he wants next turn.
Well, looking at the bullseye, he can get
Obi-Wan doing a sloop. That
I did not see that.
I don't think that's a good move.
I think it is.
But they all get rerolls against him now.
Sure, but the cloud's in the way, and there's only Yellow can shoot him. He could
and he might pop.
He could
Yellow's
kill
gonna get popped
before. Yeah. I think it was. I don't know. He still might. Move. I don't know what he's
I
doing next turn
I
though. I'll
yeah,
tell you that.
that's the problem. I don't know that he put himself in a really good position here, but he sounds like he's just going all in here on killing some ties.
Hmm.
So he's going to focus with Plo Koon. I don't think it's outside the realm of possibility that you see that focus moving right on over to Obi-Wan. I don't know what Cameron's doing with Rack here. It
I
seems
don't
like he
either.
keeps it seems like he keeps flip-flopping what he's doing with Rack based on trying to respond to Brandon.
Well, it's funny. I actually played Cameron on Saturday,
Mm-hmm.
and he was playing his list, getting some practice in.
Yeah.
And I decided to just kill TIE fighters and not care about the stress.
I think that's what Brandon's looking
I think
for.
that's what he's doing. And I think that might be a surprise to Cameron because he said I was like the only person that's done that.
Mm.
But it wasn't a tournament game. We were just playing casually, right? Like in your head,
Right.
you know, hey, the smart thing is for me to kill Rack. Like everybody knows that. But it's kind of like a quick draw deterrent kind of thing. Like if you don't start shooting quick draw at the beginning of the game, you're gonna
Right.
lose. So
Yeah. Well, and the problem for Cameron is that Brandon's ships are very hard to hit and they're hard to catch. If he
mhm.
starts losing ties, he might start having an issue with that. So the focus did move on over to Obi. Plo takes a range 3 shot, deals nothing. That yellow ship rolling enough paint. So Obi is probably going to take a shot over there as well. Although Brandon might choose to shoot at red instead because I don't think he wants to have 3 stress on
No, he
Obi-Wan.
doesn't.
So it looks like, yeah, he's going to take a range 1 on the other tie that he's not as likely to kill.
He won't
Um,
kill it.
he definitely won't. And that's where Sloan is good right there. So Cameron taking 1 point of damage on.
Or
He's
spinning the
considering.
focus.
Yeah, he's wondering how much he wants to do to broadside this turn. Yeah, he'll spend the focus for no damage. I think that's the right call. You never know. Golden rule of X-wing from me: spend the focus the first chance you get. You're not going to get another one
Because
unless
you'll
unless you're
regret it.
taking unless you're taking like a range 1 attack in 2 seconds, and you probably are going to roll a focus. I just wouldn't.
Hmm.
So Rack, unfortunately, continues to have no targets. I could see Cameron. I think it's interesting what you're talking about, how most people go for Rack.
Hmm.
I think it's interesting, Cameron, holding Rack back there to kind of force people to go through the ties, right?
Right.
I think the problem, though, is that, again, Brandon's ships are so hard to catch. They're so hard to put damage through on.
Hmm.
If Cameron starts losing ties, he's going to have a really hard time. We've got a broadside ion shot coming
Perfect.
in at yellow. Broadside makes that a 3 hit, as broadside always does. Cameron needs to roll nothing but paint here, and he does not manage that. So yellow is dead, and broadside is double stressed, which is not necessarily the ship you want double stressed.
Hmm.
Not a great dial, and he's not going to be able to use his pilot ability until he can take a focus again. Plus, there's going to be some rerolls coming in at him. He's not going to be able to run away. I wouldn't be surprised to see broadside dead next turn. But we'll see how it goes.
I don't think Broadside
Ahsoka,
will be dead. I think he can. He's got cloud cover. He can.
he's not going to get cloud cover next turn
Why not?
because these ties are coming in at him, and he's not going to be able to run away effectively stressed.
He can do a 3 bank and be on the
Ahsoka
cloud.
rolling double blanks and then adding the CLT focus on this red tie.
I'm surprised he spent that.
That gas cloud is going to turn that into an evade, and that's fine.
Yeah. I think math was against Brandon on that one. Surprised he did
That's
that.
right. So this tie is looking to shoot. He's got broadside at range 2, Ahsoka at range 2, which I didn't expect, but I think he's going to shoot broadside here. You don't have a focus token. Broadside, you get to reroll when you shoot a broadside.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the right call. You need to start getting points here, considering you've
Mm-hmm.
already lost a ship. And yeah, he is going to shoot broadside here. Rolling double blanks, of course. He gets his reroll. It's a hit.
So
We'll see
Broadside's
what
gonna
broadside can bring.
he's gonna roll an evade natural. That's what's
He's
gonna
going to
happen.
roll a natty evade. Yep, there it is. That's what always happens. It's fine, everybody. One of these leading ties might have a shot at broadside, but no. Obstructed range 2 at Obi-Wan, the likelihood of that dealing any damage is absolutely nothing. But maybe he can start draining some force. He does roll 2 hits.
Yeah.
If he's very, very lucky, Brandon will roll nothing but focuses.
Yeah.
But no, Brandon has 4 evades with that gas cloud. And we're just going to keep taking some pot shots at Obi-Wan through this gas cloud.
It's fine. He can spend his focus. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
He doesn't need it.
And absolutely nothing again. And he'll take a last shot and get absolutely nothing again. And that's just how this is going to go right now. If Cameron's going to make something happen, I think we all knew it's going to be next turn.
Mm-hmm.
This turn, he double stresses broadside. Obi-Wan is in a little bit of an awkward position. And so is Ahsoka, frankly. You know, Ahsoka's going to have a hard time going through that gas cloud right in front of her.
I don't think. I mean, they have a 1 hard on their dial.
I mean, they have a 1. Yeah, they have a 1 hard. But what do you do after that? Do you bank? I don't know that you get any targets if you do.
So, and does Ahsoka? I'll take a look at her card real quick.
I mean, you can. Yeah, you can go through the thing and then take an action with your pilot ability and then fine tune. You can absolutely do that, but then you're out of force.
Right.
And you do have rack sitting right there, and that might not be the best option for you. Cameron, I think he's got to come in pretty hot with these ties. You know, his formation's a little awkward here. You'd really want to be like 2 or 3 banking with the rest of these guys.
Mm-hmm.
You know, broadside really can't go past that cloud. There's a real limit to what broadside can do right now. And you know, if you're Cameron, you know you got to smoke broadside here.
Right.
Like this is your one best chance to take the death of a 22-point TIE fighter and turn it into broadside's death. And you can do all of that while also limiting where Obi can go. Because, I mean, Obi does not have a lot of great places to run to. But you gotta be careful about it too, because if you, I mean, the cadence of Cameron's list in terms of a win here is the turn after a ship of his dies, he kills a ship of theirs.
Mm. And
so this is the turn where we really see if this is going to pay off for Cameron.
Yeah. So what I think Brandon's going to do this turn, I'm going to leave Obi-Wan because I'm not sure. Honestly, not sure. I do see Ahsoka doing a 1 hard left. I think that makes sense. I think for broadside, I really would do the 2 bank or the 3 bank to the right over the cloud. Yes, he'll get shot, but it won't matter. It just won't matter.
Yeah. You know, I'm going to predict a 3 bank from Ahsoka.
Okay.
I think Brandon's coming in with Ahsoka. I think he's coming in hard, and he's going to just eat a little bit of damage if it comes and just get in a good position to really start pushing damage through. I think he's...
Yeah, my only thought about that is Brandon's a pretty conservative player, so I'm not sure about
that. You know, Brandon is conservative until he's not. Brandon, the reason he tricks up so many players is he goes slow, and he goes slow, and he goes slow, and then all of a sudden he does the craziest batshit move imaginable.
Right.
Like, look at Obi-Wan slooping here.
That was crazy.
That was crazy. Or in the last game we casted against Brian, that 5 straight with Plo.
Right.
I think as a player, he likes to go slow, and then when he hits the engine, he does it hard, and he tends to surprise players for that reason.
Well, and looking at the Aethersprite dial, I mean, it's 1 bank, 2 bank, 2 straight, 3 straight. Those are the blue moves.
Right. Yeah, and here's where if you were Cameron, you wish that TIE fighter had a 1 bank, because that lead TIE fighter doing a 1 bank would have been amazing. I think he'll probably just 2 bank maybe and focus.
Mm-hmm.
And then he'll just try to bring the rest of the TIE fighters in, and then he's got to bring Rack in too, and I think he knows that. I wonder if Okay, just a straight 2? Oh,
Well, he might be going for the block of the 3 blue straight, which Obi-Wan could totally be doing.
I suppose. It looks like that's what he's doing.
Of course, if Obi-Wan does a
Oh,
1 bank, we're fine here.
what? I can't tell what Cameron is going for here.
Yeah, because he's
He
not
can't
going
be
for
going
broadside, because broadside's going to zoom past all that.
right. Probably.
So he's not
He can't
pressing
be
his
going for
advantage
Ahsoka.
like you were talking about.
Yeah,
You want to kill those stress ships, and broadside's going to be past the arcs.
right. I can't imagine Broadside doing a. So the thing that Cameron had to do, which is unfortunate because of his position, he did have to move his ships out of the
Mm-hmm.
way of that one to come in instead
Mm-hmm.
of hitting the gas cloud. And I think that's what you're seeing here is he didn't want to be doing that,
Mm-hmm.
but he felt like he had to get all of his ships moved and focused, and he'll just shoot at whoever gets in his range.
Right.
Broadside doing the 1 straight though.
Surprising.
And Cameron has to be celebrating a little bit at that because that means that he gets a guaranteed shot on a stressed ship with every one of his. That's really good for him. There's that 1 hard turn. You predicted it well from Ahsoka. I still liked my 3 bank,
It's
but it's
fine.
fine. It's fine, man. It's fine. You didn't put the pedal on for Ahsoka. It's all right.
But I mean, she's not
Uh,
going to take a. She may take a shot from rack, but it's not going to be a good one.
though I wonder if we're about to see Rack go like 4 straight. You know,
That would be amazing.
Rack doesn't care if he's strained. You know what I mean?
No, he
His
doesn't.
arc is still left, right. And I think he's hitting that gas cloud anyway, no matter what he does. So he may have just decided to go for it.
So
And Cameron correctly calling that 3 straight with Obi.
Yeah.
And this is a really solid turn from Cameron right now.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if that orange ship survives Plo's attack, which he's definitely going to because Plo does not have him in bullseye.
Right. Well, Plo's got Brown in bullseye, which is what I think he'll be shooting at.
Interesting. So he does have a shot here on Ahsoka.
He does.
He also has a shot on a blocked Obi-Wan. Or even broadside.
Mm-hmm.
So he's got to be thinking, though, about that rear reinforce preventing some of the damage that's about to come in from Ahsoka. But he's going to reinforce front. And that makes sense. He's going to be trying to pile on some damage wherever he goes here. So Obi-Wan obviously has no shot. Plo Koon is going to spend a force and toss the focus over to broadside.
Cool.
Why do you think that is, Charles?
And
not Obi-Wan?
Well, that's actually why isn't it Obi-Wan?
I mean, to be fair, Obi-Wan has 3 force.
Yeah, so
Obi-Wan
he could spend focuses for all these attacks, right?
Right. I guess it's a matter of who do you think
Cameron's going to shoot at?
Is really going to eat all the shots. Yeah. Because if broadside has that focus, Obi-Wan can regenerate it, that could be a significant amount of damage reduction coming in on Cameron's side. On the other hand, if Cameron starts piling on shots into Obi-Wan and actually rolls pretty well, you're probably going to wish you hadn't done that.
Yeah, I think you're right.
That might be enough to convince Cameron to swap his target priority.
I agree. The focus probably protected broadside is what he did.
Maybe. Although I mean I have to
wonder
how
protect Obi-Wan
turn out.
He's your
that's the thing. You lose broadside, the game's not over. You lose Obi-Wan, you're in trouble. So Plo Koon taking a shot, rolling a blank hit. He's got the CLT though. He's thinking about spending a force, but Plo Koon only has the 1 force left. He might be considering whether or not he wants to go out of force with Plo, but he's going to do it. And Cameron rolls 2 evades, so he's completely fine.
Here's why I think Brandon spent it, because he noticed the behavior of Cameron where he was focusing to prevent damage.
No, I mean, I think as always, you really want some of these ties to spend their focus.
Yep.
So Rack gonna go ahead and shoot at Obi-Wan, and this could be telling us quite a bit about his target priority here. So that's a range 2 coming in at Obi-Wan from Rack, rolling all of a single crit. Not what he wants. Cameron probably getting a little bit frustrated.
Probably wishing he target locked.
He's gonna Ruthless.
Ooh.
To make that hit crit and put a point of damage on that tie touching Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan rolling 3 blanks. And now Ruthless is going to put a crit through on Obi-Wan.
Wow.
And that's a fuel leak on Obi-Wan. 1 crit getting through could be the end of him. And Brandon might be thinking about Obi-Wan's ability to survive here.
Yeah, I agree.
But Ahsoka has a shot. Looks like range 1 at Rack. So Rack about to take some damage here. There's nothing really you could do about it. Although he's not in CLT. So that's okay. And Cameron, so just natty hit crit there from Ahsoka. Cameron doing a very good job here of splitting fire.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's taking damage on Rack. He's taking damage on some ties. But he's going all in on pushing this damage through, and he's doing a pretty good job of it. Broadside's going to take a shot here, probably on that ship that just took a damage from Ruthless. He's almost guaranteed to, he's almost guaranteed to push a damage through.
Mm-hmm.
And if he ions him, that's even better because then that ship isn't turning around.
I do like ionizing Brown though because it'll mess up the formation next turn. But
yeah, that's true. And that's you don't need to spend your focus on that one. But he's going to.
He's going to playing aggressive.
Well, I think he's learned that he's probably not going to get shot a lot.
There's no point in Cameron.
Cameron, there's no point in spending your focus. Don't even deliberate. Just take the damage, take the ion, and go.
Right.
All right. So now we see what happens here. Cameron going to start sensibly with the ship of his that only has 1 shot. He'll see what he can do here. That's a range 1 with a focus and reroll. Probably do some damage here to Broadside. Yeah, you don't even need the reroll. That's 3 hits coming in at Broadside and absolutely nothing. So there's Broadside out of shields. Now here's where you wonder. Obi-Wan.
You shoot Obi-Wan.
You think you shoot Obi-Wan?
No doubt about it.
All right. I would take the range 1 to Obi and see what I can do, but he's going from farthest. No, he's shooting Obi-Wan.
It's range. Oh, he's from farthest.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he's got 2 hits coming in at Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan rolls enough evades. I mean, you're just going to see that. It's about really putting enough fire through. But now he has 2 range 1 shots at Obi-Wan.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't have any rerolls with those shots, but he will have a focus.
He may be thinking Broadside, though. He's doing Broadside because of the reroll.
No,
I guess he did Obi-Wan, but it was range 2. It looked like range 1, but I guess it was range 2. If Brandon rolls 2 paint, he's good here. And he does.
And he did. I don't know. It's fine.
You think he should have gone for Broadside?
I think he should have rolled 3 dice for that. The program says that was a range 1 shot from that TIE fighter to Obi-Wan.
The green one?
Yeah. But it's fine. The players know better than the programs. So that may have been a different TIE fighter, and he just did the same range check twice. It could have been any number of things.
Right.
Nevertheless, so Obi goes down to half. Broadside loses his shields, and in return, Cameron takes some damage on Rack and an ioned TIE fighter.
But we've got a 2-point gain.
Yeah, so a very solid turn for Cameron, and there's not a lot stopping him from continuing that here a little bit.
Right.
That 1 ship of his is ioned. That's fine. It can move and focus. It's still getting in the way of Obi-Wan a little bit. And the broadside still does not have a lot of places to go.
You think the red ship is going to get in the way of Obi-Wan?
No, I don't think it's going to get in the way of. I mean, it is going to get in the way of Obi-Wan, but not in a way that will impede Brandon past just limiting his moves for next.
I think Obi-Wan is doing 2-3 bank, whatever he thinks fits.
You think, or is he going to
to the
sloop
right?
to the right?
No, I think he's going to do a 2-3 bank. It could be. Well, I mean, I could be wrong again.
I think he's pretty safe if he does a 2 sloop to the right.
Here's why you do it though, because R5 is an action.
Oh, right. You need to run away and recover. That's true. All right.
And
but if you're the TIE fighters,
mm-hmm.
what do you? I think you want start just 2 banking or 1 hard turning. You want to be able to. He has a turn here where he can just kind of casually 1 bank with the rest of his TIE fighters, and Plo, is in a little bit of a pickle.
Well,
and Rack is right there too.
Because Brandon did the 1 straight with broadside, which I didn't like. He's going to be probably eating the cloud this turn. I mean, the TIE fighters can all do 1 hard left, and
Yeah, broadside continue to not have a lot of places to go.
The 1 bank may clear the cloud, and so he can focus. But
Maybe.
Brandon doesn't have a whole lot of capability to destroy another TIE fighter this next turn.
Right. Although, I mean, let me talk about who does have that capability, and that's Ahsoka.
Mm-hmm.
Ahsoka pulling in to flank you is one of the worst things that can happen in the game of X-Wing.
Mm-hmm.
With her ability to focus and target lock every single turn.
Well, and Ahsoka's going to be licking her chops because what is Rack doing?
Right.
This next turn, Rack's probably taking a cloud.
Right. Agreed. And I would not be surprised over the course of this game if Cameron can't shake Ahsoka off. Ahsoka could just absolutely destroy Rack by herself.
No, she could do 3 damage a turn, right? All the way to half.
4 damage a turn.
And possibly, yeah.
CLT is going to be pretty easy to get from this turn on. Just do a 1 hard turn with Ahsoka, boost her barrel roll, and get your CLT, dump 4 damage.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Rack might well be in half at 2 turns here.
I'm not sure what Plo does.
But yeah, this could be a very good turn for Cameron. If he manages to predict broadside's move, maybe Plo's move, and start pumping some damage through. Ahsoka is a threat, but Plo's going to have to run, and broadside isn't going to be in the best position.
Cameron gave Brandon initiative, right?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, because Rack's been moving last.
I mean, Plo could be an expensive blocker this turn if he wants to be on Rack, but
Brandon looking at sense.
Mm-hmm. Well, he can get it for free at range 1. Why not?
Right, but there's not much point to it. The only one he could use is knowing Rack's. And he is going to spend the force to take a look at Rack. And Rack is doing a 3 bank to the right across that gas cloud. Obviously trying to put that gas cloud between him and Ahsoka, and also put himself at a nice range 1 shot for broadside.
Well, now Ahsoka knows exactly what to do.
Right, exactly. And that's a big deal. But also so does everybody else, because don't forget, Obi-Wan and Plo Koon have to move before Rack.
Right.
So we got Ion moving. Surprise, surprise, it did a 1 straight. It's going to focus. And the rest of his ties, probably 2 banks or 1 hard turns. Just trying to get your actions,
or
put your
4Ks.
Arcs on things. And he 4Ks.
It's not bad.
Right across.
It's not bad at all.
It's not bad. Though
Well, that one's strange.
Ships.
Yeah.
And you don't get actions. Nobody's stressed. You're not getting rerolls. I mean, unless you block that sloop by Obi-Wan, in which case, oh boy.
He didn't put stress tokens out, so I'm going to
He did.
He put a strain out.
No, he put stress as well.
Okay, I didn't see it.
Got stress on ships. All right, and then just a 2 bank with the last one. Maybe just trying to catch Obi here.
Yeah.
Cameron musing about where Obi-Wan went, kind of just really trying to catch up. And this is what I meant when I was talking about Broadside being a little more free and clear once players smell Jedi blood in the. Cameron is going all in. Yeah, there's that one hard turn from Ahsoka. Cameron's going all in on Obi-Wan here. He's just kind of desperate to kill him.
I think Ahsoka could fine-tune barrel roll focus.
Yeah.
Because she'd have a cloud cover from the TIE fighters, and she would get a bullseye shot on Rack.
I think you actually get a bullseye shot right now.
Well, three bank.
It's through the cloud.
3 bank, though.
Yeah, I don't know. I think you have a pretty good shot of getting it right now. But if you barrel roll, you absolutely get it.
Yeah, you might be right. I mean, if you can get it here, that's great because you can just keep trailing.
That's the thing. I think you want to be in a pretty decent trailing position, but he's just going to go ahead and move in.
And take a shot from Rack.
Yeah, and I'm not sure he gets CLT from anybody, so yeah, I'm not sure about that one.
I don't get that one.
Yeah.
But, he's undefeated, so he must know what he's doing.
So whatever. Oh, maybe he wanted to come in here to put something on Obi-Wan.
That's really clever.
Maybe. Or maybe that's just opportunistic.
I think you're right. I think Obi was going to be blocked, and so he wants to do something.
But he would have had to know that beforehand. He is going to spend the Force to give someone an action. He's considering who it's going to be. Obi-Wan is going to take a boost action.
Yeah,
enabled by Ahsoka.
So he avoids a block of whatever.
So he gets out of the block.
I bet it's a 2 bank.
I think it's a 2 bank.
Yep.
I could see it being a straight K.
That would be crazy, but that's fine.
They're making very good use of all of the overlapping abilities here. Plo Koon tossing into Ahsoka enabling actions. And the TIEs are having a little bit of trouble catching up.
Right.
I think something that we've been talking about from the get-go. No, just that 3 bank you talked about. Good prediction there. I think the problem, you and I both, I think, would have preferred Cameron to go all in on Broadside here.
Right.
I think he's the blood, he's smelling Obi, and it's got to be frustrating too as a player because that Obi has a regen droid on him, and all of that hard-won damage you just did is about to be nullified, and you're about to lose the points that Obi-Wan has.
So Brandon's doing a fine tune on Obi-Wan. Then I expect him to take an action to flip fuel leak as his action.
Yeah.
I'll be surprised.
And he's doing exactly that. And next turn he will
clear it.
So you get why players would want to go all in, but on the other hand, frankly, you're just not going to catch them.
Wow.
That's going to be interesting. I wonder, Cameron, I wonder what your target is here. Rack is about to 3 bank. Probably clear.
Well, it doesn't matter. He goes over the cloud, so he's not going to have an action.
No, but it's a matter of who do you shoot.
I would think Rack would want to shoot Broadside. He can shoot at him with all but 1 ship.
Yeah, I think
2 ships.
I think Cameron needs to clear Broadside off the table for the easy points. He's getting a little bit blindsided by these Jedi, but he'll have a good next turn too in terms of position. Obi-Wan's still running away. Ahsoka, Broadside, Plo, all kind of just trapped in this TIE swarm. So Plo going to take looks like a range 1 shot, range 2 shot. Brandon's considering shooting at that TIE that's strained.
The problem is he can't give Plo the focus back. So CLT doesn't really matter, I don't think.
Yeah. Well, no, it does matter. What do you mean he doesn't get give the...
So Obi-Wan's out of force, so he can't...
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think Plo's a huge risk here, although he is...
He's at risk of getting damaged.
He's spending it.
Yeah, I mean, you roll 3 eyeballs. I think you're almost...
Right.
By law. You have
by
to spend
law.
it.
Cameron rolls some natties. He takes one. He's fine with
So he's shooting blue with restrained.
it. Yeah, and there was a good idea there. And,
I like
you
it.
know, Brandon thinking too, maybe I just put 2 damage through and then Broadside gets to finish him off.
Broadside's going to kill the red one if he lifts.
I don't know that he is. Broadside doesn't have a focus.
Yeah, but it's probably range 1.
That's going to be range 2.
Okay,
We'll see. We'll see. I mean, I don't know. You're rolling at a TIE fighter with a focus. You don't have a focus. I don't know that the odds are great there. Rack taking a shot. Hit, crit coming in at Plo Koon. No. So Plo Koon going to be taking at least a shield here. That was a gutsy call for Rack.
Wow.
He might not have done any damage there, but he's going to do something. And that's going to be triple natties coming out of Brandon for just a shield on Plo.
Okay. That's amazing natty rolls on both sides.
Yeah. They're talking in game about how you and I must be losing our minds about those. But I think once again, I think every time this happens, Cameron's thinking, man, I should have shot Broadside.
So now the 3s get a shoot, right? So
right.
Brandon's got to decide, is he going to kill a TIE fighter or not? Because if he is, he needs to shoot it, double tap it with Broadside and Ahsoka, right?
Yeah.
Or do I take the easy shot on Rack? I think the easy shot on Rack.
On Rack, yeah.
It looks like it's range 2 in arc, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But it's not obstructed by cloud, and you got that going for you. Not that it would have mattered because of strain.
Yeah. Yeah, I have to think you just go for Rack here. You don't have a good bullseye on anybody. You put 2 more damage on Rack, take him out of shields, put him within spitting distance of half. I mean, you're looking the speed these players are playing at. You're looking at 3 or 4 more turns.
I
don't know that you're going to kill Rack.
2. Yeah,
right. I don't know that you're going to kill Rack, but you want to get him to half and get those points.
He's shooting Rack.
He's shooting Rack. That's 2 hits, 2 damage, out of shields, easy.
He's completely out of shield, so I've missed that the whole time. So he's got 17 total.
17 health Rack, yeah. I mean, he's always at 16. And then Broadside going to see what he can see. He's got Chirano at range 1 with his primary arc. That's what Brandon's looking at is primaries. Yeah, I think he's just going to pop a shot into Rack here and pile on the damage.
1 crit.
And do a single point of crit.
You wish you had the focus, but still, you take the crit.
And that's going to be a wounded pilot on Rack, which there could be worse.
Right. Well, who knows when Rack's going to take another action.
Right.
To be honest.
The TIE fighters have some shots here, but none of them are really great. So he's just going to, try and Hail Mary some shots in at Plo Koon here, it looks like. No mods to speak of. Doesn't matter when you roll 2 hits.
Doesn't matter.
But Plo still has a force, still has 3 agility, and rolls 2 natties, and is totally fine. And he has 1 more shot. He does this time have range to Broadside, but he's going to go for Plo Koon and roll a single. And Plo Koon's just going to, roll right out of it again.
Mm-hmm.
I think this game is still going either way.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's a real problem that he's focusing in on these Jedi instead of the ship that he could be killing.
Yeah, I mean, next turn, Brandon's going to regen on Obi-Wan, and Cameron will have 0 points.
Right. And Plo Koon has an easy escape here.
Yep.
You know, he can three hard turn, boost barrel roll, get behind that cloud, and be completely safe. And Obi-Wan, yeah, is about to go back to just no hull damage. Rack about to be at half, a TIE fighter about to die. Cameron's moves, though, are pretty straightforward here. He's got a 4K, those 2 ties that aren't. And then he'll probably be 2 banking the original 2, the 2 that K turned this last turn. That's not going to do a lot to block the Jedi, although it will cause a little bit of a problem for Ahsoka in terms of planning your moves. And Broadside is going to eat some damage this turn. He's got 5 health remaining. He could go down here if Cameron gets some damage in. Rack probably looking, though, to put some damage through on Ahsoka if possible. Surely if Cameron can get a block on Ahsoka here, it could turn in his favor.
Yeah. But he does have the unblockable 4 straight.
He does. Yeah, I think Ahsoka is in more of a an issue. Because you can't really go left.
No, and you can't.
Because there's Rack waiting for you, and you can't really go right because the ties are waiting for you, and you can't really go straight because then there's Rack.
I think you can go straight.
You can go straight.
Yeah.
Just do the 2 straight, I guess. And
I mean, look at where. So red, you got to remember, red TIE fighters facing away.
Right.
So I mean, it can do a 1 heart. It could do, but I would think 3K would be the more likely move. Like you said, blue and brown could do. They could do. Well, they're not going to do 4K because I think it's blocked.
Yeah, that's an issue right now. You want to be doing a 4K or a 3K with that green tie, but you're going to be blocked by the brown tie, who wants to do a 2 bank, which I think is being blocked by the green.
Well, if green does a 4K first, I think, and then
but does that But does that fit if green does a 4K?
So.
You think it's
because you can see the range ruler right beside him. It's a range 1 from green to brown, so that's 2.5 ship bases plus another ship base. From brown is 3.5, so mathematically 4K fits.
Well, we'll see if he gauges that. He's going to start moving 3K with that damage tie. That. Well, that was his only real move there. The blue tie is going to do a 2 bank in that direction.
He's probably maybe looking for the block on Obi-Wan. Or just make him, do things he didn't want to do.
Maybe. He does take a strain for it, and he won't have an action.
And Obi-Wan won't be stressed, so your die roll is not going to be great.
Probably. Right. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Let's just all be strained.
Yeah. No action, strained, going through it again next turn.
There's a 4K, but he could have done it first and done different moves.
Yeah,
blue, I think.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree with you. It probably would have cleared.
I mean, Obi-Wan can hard right 1, focus, and regen, and we're fine here.
Yeah, Cameron definitely just changed the field of the fight for sure. I mean, the whole course of engagement's been happening over by Rack, and Cameron just in 1 turn decided, no, we're gonna be over here now.
So Ahsoka can
that does open up for next turn too.
In action, or I guess she's not going to because she just focused.
Yeah. I don't think she's too worried about getting attacked by 2 unmodified shots from those ties.
So did Broadside finally lose his stress?
I don't think so. No. Broadside banked left 3. Probably to get away, and then just lucked into the perfect position.
So Brandon went the direction I didn't think he was going, which was the smarter direction, and now he's above half.
Yeah.
Oops.
So then we just kind of have Plo, looking for the escape. There's a 5K.
Nah, we're not gonna escape.
Yeah. I think Brandon likes playing real fast and loose with Plo Koon here.
Oh,
Rack
too
hard turning, hitting that gas cloud again. I don't think Rack has had an action since the first turn.
Well, here's the thing too. The only thing
His
he can
bump
shoot
or
is
hit that gas cloud
broadside.
every turn.
So he's probably going to get a half on broadside. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah, but he doesn't have any mods there.
Well,
I guess he has the reroll.
Yeah, he's got the reroll.
Oh, I don't know, man.
I hear you.
I think Brandon's leading Cameron around by the nose here with these Jedi.
Sure. It's amazing how little damage has been done in this game.
It's true, yeah. Brandon is preferring to just kind of run away where possible, and it's hard to blame him. He's taking his pot shots. So Plo's going to pop a shot here.
He's got 2 force. So
yeah. And he's just continuing the damage piling up on Rack here. So Rack down to 9 hulls, starting to get within spitting distance of death.
Mm-hmm.
And Rack's only shot his broadside here.
And he's, 2 points away from half.
Right, exactly. Well, let's see what Rack can do here. That is a hit crit. He will re-roll that. For hit crit, yeah.
Well, 3 hits because of ablative, or whatever it's called, plating.
Which is a solid ship ability.
It is.
Plus, he still gets to roll and evade here. As, of course, it will be a natty evade because broadside. Oh, no, I was wrong. All right. I tried to do it too much. Broadside going down to 2 health.
Yeah, I think broadside's going to buy it this turn.
I don't know.
I guess not, because maybe red doesn't even have a shot.
Cameron might be lured by the range 1 shot at Ahsoka.
Well, but he doesn't have any mods.
Oh, I know it. So Brandon's starting to look at potential targets here for a broadside. He's looking that Rack is very, very close to half. And
I'd go ahead and shoot blue and get half damage on
it. He doesn't have Turpy and Arc with that ion. So I would shoot blue, and I think he's going to. Not only do you disrupt the formation more, but you got a ship to half. Well, of course, broadside doesn't have a focus token.
There's 2 turns left, so that means blue's out of the game, too. Also.
They are also out of time here.
Right.
So they have 2 turns left after.
Yep, you got it.
They're just confirming the timer. So he's going to take an ion on blue. That's probably the right call.
I think so.
He'll roll a hit crit with it.
I think blue's strained too, so blue's only got 2 dice.
Yeah. And he rolls absolutely nothing. So, yeah, 1 hit and ioned, and that is not at all what Cameron wants. That means essentially that tie is pretty much out of the game.
Right.
So he's starting to look at his options here. He's got an attack here at Ahsoka with that damaged TIE fighter to the rear. He has no other shots.
Well, here's the thing. If he kills red, he's going to take 1 less shot.
Right.
And Ahsoka don't care about stress. So I think you take it. CLT.
Oh, you take it, and you kill the shit out of it, 100%.
Yeah, that's what he's going to do. He put the.
There's no reason not to.
Yeah.
And that's going to be 3 damage coming in.
So he'd have
unless
to
Cameron can roll natties, and he absolutely does not. That's going to be a dead TIE fighter. But Ahsoka's now stressed, and that probably means Cameron is going to be shooting at Ahsoka.
Right, with his 1 TIE fighter that's still left in the game.
Exactly.
In a competitive sense, right? Because the other 2 are off in the outer reaches.
Off in no man's land, yeah. So you have range 3 at broadside here, or range 1 at Ahsoka.
It's tough. You're more likely to get damage in Ahsoka, I think. honestly, because you're rolling
You
3
know,
dice.
I think it's difficult. I also think he's starting to get into the point in the game where he starts needing Hail Marys. And Ahsoka does not have regen. If you can put 2 damage on Ahsoka here, you can get some points he can't take back. And he's going to shoot Ahsoka.
And you get the 1 reroll.
That could be a hit crit. It is not. It is just hit crit.
And Brandon has 1 force.
He has force. So Brandon has a mod here.
He needs an average roll is what he needs.
That's all he needs. And he's going to get better than that and completely natty out. And it's just, it's getting harder and harder for Cameron to push any damage through as the Jedi are spread out, and so does the Swarm.
Well, and, thinking about what Brandon's going to do next turn, Brandon does 2 damage on Rack, and then he's getting 45 more points.
Right. And you might think that Ahsoka is a good target right now, but don't forget that Ahsoka can use her pilot ability to give herself actions even while stressed.
Mm-hmm.
Cameron right now has to be thinking very, very hard about how he can shoot Ahsoka with Rack. Ahsoka or Plo Koon would both be very, very good targets for Rack right now. Ahsoka 2 away from half, Plo Koon 1 away from half, but can regen. Although we're down to the last 2 turns, so your time to regen is quickly leaving you.
Right. I think we're going to see Brandon sense with Obi-Wan and see if he can get Rack, because I think it's close.
I don't. And Obi-Wan is pretty good on force, so he definitely can afford.
Well, the way that they revised the rules in the FAQ, you do the range and then you decide if you want to spend it, and if you spend it, you get it.
Right.
So you can just do the range tree, see what you get, and then decide whether or not you want to do it. I mean, Ahsoka could play spoiler on Rack and block him if he can get it. It's really close. I'm not sure.
Agreed. And that's the chess match here. Is safest thing Ahsoka can do is go for that block on Rack.
Right.
Which, if Cameron can predict, Cameron might move somewhere else and still get that nice shot. So if I'm Rack, honestly, I'm just going 1 straight.
Well, and that's why I do a 1 bank with Ahsoka, because the TIE Fighter moves first, and then you're going to block Rack. Done.
Yeah. Plo Koon has to be thinking pretty hard about that green TIE Fighter. He doesn't want to get blocked and be right in front of Rack.
Right.
But the rest of these TIE Fighters are pretty much out of it. One of them's Ion, the other one's not. It might 4K. But it's not going to get good shots for the rest of the game here unless something crazy happens. Broadside obviously knows where people want to go. And if I see anything other than a 1 straight or a 1 bank out of Broadside, I'm going to be flabbergasted. Brandon finally has the position he wants, and he's going to keep it.
And he knows, but he could do it too hard and get the cloud cover and save Broadside really effectively.
Maybe. It depends on where that green TIE Fighter goes. If he does it too hard, that green TIE Fighter might have a perfect shot on him and just take him off.
Might be. I mean, I do like the 1 bank.
What's the point differential right now?
So Brandon has destroyed 55 and Cameron has destroyed 21, which is half of Broadside. So you would expect, Cameron's probably going to kill Broadside this turn, so he'll go up to 44. But if Brandon can get Rack, that's 45. Half of Rack is more than Broadside.
Right, or finish off one of these TIE Fighters.
Yeah, why not? Just keep double down on it, because the more ships you destroy, the less the stress matters.
It's certainly the case that there's not a whole lot of ships at good position to safely take points off of Rack. Ahsoka went a little bit fast for that. If that was Brandon's plan, that didn't really pan out.
Well, look at it this way. Ahsoka was in the armpit of the arcs for Rack and didn't get shot by Rack. That's
true. So a 2 bank with that other other TIE fighter.
So if Broadside does the one bank, then we're fine here.
Yeah.
So here's the strain.
Another one? Isn't that 2 strain on
It
him?
is, but they don't stack. No, they don't stack. It says if you're strained, you subtract 1 die. Now,
Right, but I think you only
You-
clear one off at a
you
time.
only clear one at a time, but I'm saying
Yeah.
you don't. She's not going to be a Y-wing for this
No,
turn.
no. It's just, increasing shots is a big problem, but I'm not too worried about it. Yeah, there's that one straight. He still gets like a perfect shot up that TIE fighter, and he's fine anyway because nobody's really shooting him here. The only shot is coming through from behind that gas cloud.
Did he get rid of his stress?
I think he got rid of his stress.
But he has no action.
Fine. But he has no action. It's cool. We're cool here. And then we'll start looking at what the Jedi are doing.
I like Obi-Wan doing a 1 hard left, fine tune, focus. So you can do a 1 hard left, barrel roll to the left, have bullseye on rack, be focused, get rack to half. And then he's got a force left over to regen his focus token.
Yeah. I don't know.
Really, I don't see what else you do.
Ahsoka doing
for
a
the
hard
block.
one. See, I think that's interesting. We saw this last game from Ahsoka, didn't we? Ahsoka just eventually having so many stress tokens, she just said, you know what, screw it. I don't need no stress.
Right.
So just 1 hard turning to get a nice bump in on rack here, and is going to spend it to take a target lock on rack.
That's how much
pretty
he believes that he got the block.
Pretty confident that he got the block there.
Well, if you look at where the ships are, the TIE fighter ain't moving. He knows where Plo's going. So
Plo banking right.
I think Plo loses his stress, fine-tune barrel roll focus.
If Plo thinks that Ahsoka is going to bump rack.
It's really close, but you're right. You're right. If he thinks Ahsoka's going to bump, then yeah, just sit there and focus.
Yeah, he's trusting it. He's just going to sit and focus.
It does look like Ahsoka's going to get hit first.
Obi-Wan just coming around.
Unless Cameron did a really long maneuver. If he did a 3 straight, then
maybe
it's a totally different.
I'm hoping to see that out of Cameron here. I'm hoping to see just the 3 bank or something big, but we don't. It's just a 1 bank.
Well, but because it's a bank,
but he will have Plo Koon, and Plo Koon will have him. And maybe he can Hail Mary something here.
I'm really surprised that Brandon didn't do the 1 hard barrel roll with Obi-Wan.
Yeah. Well, Obi-Wan's going to come in next turn and probably be in a pretty good position here to talk about finishing off rack. Plo going to do three hits and a crit to rack. Good God. That's going to put rack down to 5 health. And that's a weapons failure on rack.
One. I was actually going to say,
no.
The one thing he doesn't want is weapons failure.
The one thing that could cost him, yeah.
I mean, even direct hit would have been better than weapons failure.
He's taken a range 1 of Plo. What else can he do? He rolls absolutely nothing in the process. He's going to Ruthless. I think he's just kind of getting frustrated at this point. Yeah, he's just going to be pissed off Ruthless. I don't blame him. Maybe he'll roll 3 blanks. Of course he doesn't. And no damage whatsoever. Yeah, I think Cameron's feeling this game go against him.
I think Broadside's going to shoot blue with primaries. Why not?
Yeah, he's absolutely shooting blue with primaries. I mean, blue has a focus token.
Yeah.
You're not too likely to push damage, but if you're Brandon, do you really care?
Well, you're going to push 0. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, whatever. Who cares? Broadside, we keep saying it. It keeps not being true. I'm pretty sure Broadside is going to die next turn.
I mean, he
Uh,
could die this turn, but it's unlikely.
yeah,
He'd have to roll like double eyeball
yeah, exactly. That
because he's
Tie
not
Fighter.
stressed anymore. The
All
focus
one.
doesn't matter. We're
Yeah,
fine here.
exactly. These ties, though, they're going to come in for blood. They're going to come in to kill Broadside. You only have to deal 2 damage to kill him. Um, but if you do that and Rack doesn't die, what does Cameron need to do this last turn? Assuming he kills Broadside, what else does he have to do to make up the points
So
differential?
Cameron is down 79 points. So he would have to.
Kill Broadside and kill
Broadside would
Obi?
give
Is that
him 41. So he needs
no
50.
21?
Oh,
Oh,
21 more than he's got right now. Actually, 20 more
right,
than he's got right now. So
right,
Broadside would give him 20. So he'd still
right.
need 59.
Is Obi 59 or more?
He's 61. So you have to kill Broadside and
Have to
kill Obi-Wan.
smoke Obi in one shot here, dealing 3 damage, and kill Broadside.
Well,
And that's,
weapons failure, even at range 1, you're not rolling 4 dice.
oh my God, you're right. He has to clear weapons failure in the process too,
And then roll natties.
and then roll natties, and trust that Brandon rolls triple blanks. But that's still what you got, and sometimes you just have to work with what you got and identify the Hail Mary that.
Sure. But I don't even know that killing Broadside is. I know you said
No, I think
finally is this turn, but I'm not so sure because his TIE fighters are pointing the wrong direction. They're going to K turn. They're
and
going
he's
to
going to
get
3
strained.
bank or 3 hard turn or whatever the hell he wants to do. I think the time to kill Broadside was 4 or 5 turns ago.
Mm-hmm.
And what we've seen since is Cameron just dumping shots, inopportune shots into Jedi who have all been just laughed off.
Right.
And in return, Broadside's been free and clear to keep ioning ships. I do think though this is a problem we didn't really talk about, but let's talk about it now. The difficulty of pushing damage through 3 agility ships with tons of passive mods with 2 attack dice.
It's fair point. And force.
Let's just talk about that.
Don't forget about force.
And well, that's what I mean by passive mods.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You have all the defenses in the world, and you have enough for these TIE fighters to
and then so in the list building phase, bringing clouds was a mistake in my opinion for this list.
Agreed. I get why he wanted it. I mean, let's talk. Rack has gone over quite a number of gas clouds, but it has definitely worked in the Jedi's favor.
Well, I think you bring like people forget that your opponent brings 3 rocks, right? So
Right.
So you bring 1 and then put it where you think Rack's gonna go, and then the other 2 are not things that give your opponent free evades on 2 dice.
Right.
He has rolled strain like 100%.
I believe every single time. Yeah. Hasn't really cost him anything. Yeah. So here's what we're talking about. He's going to get exactly 1 shot on that
exactly
broadside
1
with a shooter with no mods to speak of.
Right.
Oh man. All right.
He could kill Broadside, be a Hail Mary, but he's got to kill Obi-Wan.
It's possible. Plo Koon isn't 59 or more, right?
Plo Koon is 52. Actually, so it's not enough. That's only 72.
Yeah, it's gotta be Obi.
Mm-hmm.
Obi or bust, my friends. I feel like we just had this conversation when Brian's game.
Yeah.
Brandon just kind of casually setting up his kill room here.
I'm strained.
Plo Koon says I'm strained. I literally don't care. And Obi is just going to very casually 1 bank. I'm not really worried about it.
It's weird.
Yeah, if I'm Brandon, I would have been expecting a 3 bank here out of rack, and you're kind of playing into that a little bit. But he doesn't seem to be very concerned about it.
So he took a purple evade. I
And
guess because
rack
he's
doing
got
a
2 force.
2 hard turn, which
So he's going to kill broadside, I guess. Or no, he can't.
no, because he's weapons failured.
He's got a cloud obstruction. His arc is pointing the
Yeah,
wrong direction. I'm really not
yeah.
sure what's
He's
going
got
on here.
He's got to flip weapons, and he just gets stressed by wounded pilot to rub it in. And he'll take the Hail Mary, but by taking that evade on Obi-Wan, Brandon has essentially guaranteed that he cannot lose this game.
Yeah.
Maybe if we had a range 1 shot from rack, we could have talked about direct hits, fuel leak, but
So he took a
it's
target
increasingly
lock.
unlikely. That was Ahsoka, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's Ahsoka's target lock from a couple turns ago.
So he dropped weapons failure.
He dropped weapons failure.
Okay.
Plo Koon just going to take a pot shot here. No reason not to. No other targets in range. Maybe you put another crit through, deal something.
That's CLT, right?
Agreed. So he's just going to try to do a little bit more damage to rack here.
Might as well spend the force. I don't see why you're not.
Cement the points. Yeah, you definitely spend it. That's 3 hits coming in at rack, who rolls 2 blanks. That's going to be turning 1 into an evade with the gas cloud. And rack is still alive.
I've got 3 left. This one I count.
3. He's got 3 left. That's correct.
Yeah.
So rack's not going to die. He is going to take a range 2 here at Obi-Wan.
Mm-hmm.
And just roll perfectly average
And it
for
doesn't
1 hit.
matter what Brandon.
And he's telling Brandon not to even bother with rolling, which is fair.
But
Brandon's going to roll anyway and roll natties, and he's fine. Yeah, this game shows you if you're going to push damage on Jedi, you really have to, ball up your shots and focus them down.
I guess he's going to shoot rack, but it really will not matter.
Oh, well, at this point, right?
So, I mean, Cameron's got the extra damage ready to go.
As he should, because there's a damage. Why not? That tie on that hard turn, unfortunately, has nobody in arc. He's taken a range 2 at broadside.
With no mods.
With no mods to speak of, rolls a single crit. That's going to become a hit.
Right.
Broadside is going to live against all odds. Broadside will not die this game.
I think that's it.
And I think that's it. Oh, man.
Do they want us to go into the game chat, or are we doing Discord? Game chat, I guess. I'll go in there.
I brought
So you gotta
Wholesome
have
regen, so
No, it's still regen. Sorry.
I don't know that they can
I
hear
have to
me.
spend actions for it though. It supposedly makes a difference when you just have passive mods every turn.
Except
then
you have
don't
2
care.
actions on those ships with 3 force tokens. So no, it's not wholesome
Yeah.
regen. Sorry.
It
Not
doesn't
on,
matter.
not on him.
Hey guys.
Yeah, no, not on him. So you got 111. I got 21.
How did he get 111?
because he got half on racked, killed 2 ties, and half pointed 2 others. Oh, sorry, no, he didn't. He got 100.
Okay, we're in agreement.
Yeah. Half on one, killed 2.
This is just. I feel like I just kind of wasted an hour and a half of my life playing this game.
Hey.
It's just me being salty about Jedi. Good game. If I could have kept on Obi-Wan, but you went the other direction than I thought you would.
Well, and you almost had me because you bumped me that one turn.
Yeah,
Then you would have bumped me the other turn, except Ahsoka was able to wing through there.
bumping Jedi, you basically still have a focus token. Denies you your an actual token and you reposition, but I have to shoot past 3 force tokens and 3 green die.
Yep.
I see people talking, but I think they might be in this. Let's go to Discord.
No, well, we can do whichever.
I mean, is the stream recording?
It is.
Okay, so I guess we can just stay here then.
But I mean, if y'all have Discord, it'd probably be good to join because Mark, I don't think can do the in-game chat.
Yeah, it's probably best to go to Discord then.
Cool. See you
All
later.
right, let's pop out of here.
So Mark, I don't know if you heard, but they're going to join us in Discord.
Yo.
Sounds good. Hey, everybody. Good game.
Yeah, I mean, it was Jedi.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a little unfortunate just watching the kind of Jedi running merrily around the board and taking no damage in the process.
Yeah.
I told him to blame Charles.
Yeah.
No, I'll blame the game designer who made Force the way it was.
And region.
Yeah,
And fine-tune controls.
R5 would be wholesome on not Jedi.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Because Jedi can do it, spend their action, but
Mm-hmm.
they all still get their after movement boost or barrel roll, and they have 2 to 3 force. So they have a focus token. Anyway. So they still get an action, basically.
Right.
Broadside existed, I guess, in that list. The Ion actually hurt. I will say. More than I thought it would.
yeah, we
Say that again, Mark.
I was saying we noticed you kind of just ignoring broadside in favor of trying to push damage on the Jedi where you could, and I was wondering what you thought of.
It would take. So I should have focused him down once he took the 3 shield, once he got out in the 5 hole. And once Obi-Wan skedaddled and undid my half points. I should have just focused him down. But Plo Koon then, bumped while stressed. And I thought, okay, this is a chance to put damage on Plo Koon. For a couple turns, and then that, Jedi. I didn't get any damage through, honestly. And then by that point, my ties over on the right side were just too out of position because of the Ion, and then the way that turn where blue was Ion on the right there, that hurt because brown would not have landed either a 3K or a 4K, I don't think.
Yeah.
And so he just kind of turned, and then he was pointing off in some random flipping direction.
Right.
What about the 3 bank with rack that didn't make it in the beginning?
I misjudged it. I'm terrible with banks, with big bases. I thought he would kind of get just past that last tie, but he didn't.
Did you think about maybe instead of following the TIE fighters, going straight and staying in the gutter for a turn and then
I did, but
joining?
I was worried. Worried about red being so far out there, outside of the long range.
Be better to stay near your guys so that they get the slowed effect.
Just so that Brandon either has to choose between killing the tie with a Jedi, possibly killing the tie with a Jedi and stressing it, going in, or having to kind of just risk shooting broadside at it, in which case the tie takes 1 damage, and it's Ion, sure. But it's still alive. And it gets a focus token.
That makes sense.
Right.
Well, congrats, Brandon. Taking the
Yeah,
win
well
here for
played.
this turn.
Thank you. Yeah, stealing the TIE Fighter toilet paper trophy from the Empire player feels a little
I have
dirty,
toilet paper. You can have it.
but-
So what were your thoughts coming into this game, man?
I really didn't know how it was going to go because it's one of those things where I wanted my Jedi to do damage, but I wanted the kills to all be done either by Ahsoka or Broadside because those are the two that can most readily take stress and not care. But obviously, you never know how dice are going to work out, and you have to
Right.
take kills where you can get them. So
Yeah,
I
but
wasn't sure.
we did notice you kind of taking pot shots here and there to weaken some ships with Obi-Wan and Plo, and then trying to go all in with Broadside and so.
Yeah, so if you watch my other games, you can definitely see where I did that instead of what I normally do, which is I'm in your business, I'm getting the bullseye, I'm pushing like 4 damage onto a ship, trying to just kill it.
Right. Yeah,
Um,
you were a little bit more run and gun here.
But it's interesting that this list can just pivot into doing that.
You're welcome, Brandon.
Thanks, Charles.
Yeah. I mean, it's a good list. CLT is just it's not even an extra die in Bullseye. It's a result. And with Force, you can almost always modify that result.
Right.
Yeah, obviously it goes very well with Jedi in general.
Oh yeah, I mean, hey, it's almost like it's designed around the pilots.
I know, crazy.
It's highly underrated because it's strange if you get on the internet and you look at people talking about it, other people it's 7B or bust. They won't even look at CLT,
Right.
and I really don't understand why because it is super good.
I guess
It could be a difference in the meta.
Could be.
You know, if you're flying in that heavily, what I would generalize as a European meta, just 2 or 3 ace small ships, that CLT might not get you very far. Whereas if you're flying in the more varied meta where you have some medium base, large base ships, it gets you farther. I think we saw a lot more variety in this tournament.
Well, the other
probably
thing
what you
too is
could have had.
we're playing in an extended tournament, right? Like it's
Right.
one thing if CLT does well in a hyperspace tournament. It's another thing if it does well in extended.
Oh yeah.
That's true because you don't even have 7B in hyperspace right now.
Right.
Right.
But
So, yeah, go ahead.
On those higher initiative Jedi, even on the low initiative ones, just it being so much cheaper lets you put so much more on the list. Compared
Right.
to 7B, you're able to fit 2 R5s and an ion turn on broadside, and Ahsoka with CLT
And sense.
and
A
sense.
ton of list. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think the thing is though, if I'd given this to any mouth breather, they wouldn't be here because you got to play disciplined a little bit. I mean, Brandon did make some crazy moves. The 2 sloop or whatever 3 sloop with Obi-Wan in front of the TIE fighters kind of blew our minds with that one. Didn't pay
I
for it.
don't know what to think about that one, man.
So
It would be good.
the thought process behind that was I knew I was going to put my cloud
Yep.
between myself and all the TIE fighters.
Yep.
Right.
And since I wasn't interested in shooting them because of the stress threat, I wanted to reposition myself to try to catch them on either a backswing or put myself in a position where maybe I can get away from rack
Mm-hmm.
when the time came.
Well, and the
yeah,
concern was next turn, right? And if you did natty out on those rolls,
Yeah, you had to really trust that you were going to get out of there alive.
Well, it's worked for me so far.
I mean, it worked out.
fair.
sounds-
I mean,
sounds
I don't know what to
to
say.
be fair, I really liked Cameron's blocking the 3 straight the next turn. That's exactly what I thought you
Yeah,
were
that
going to
was
do. And Cameron
very smart.
called it totally. That
Oh
was
no,
such a
yeah,
good
it was
block.
it was great because I told him in the game I could have just as easily done a 1 bank and avoided all that,
He
and it would have been
could've.
fine. And I didn't. I did the 3 straight, thinking he was going to come in a little bit softer.
I thought he was going to do 1 hearts.
And yeah, so that was great for him. Nearly killed me. And then the following turn, he called that block as well. The only reason it didn't work was because I sacrificed a really good Ahsoka shot against Rack to push her into range to give him the boost so that he could slip the net instead of just bumping into one of the ships and
Right.
dying.
And that got Obi out, so we could just regen off the crit.
Yep.
Yep.
But you legitimately did almost have him. If there had been any
Right.
other ship other than Ahsoka in the list, I wouldn't have been able to get out of that.
Hey,
Yeah.
quick question about that. When you plowed the focus token, why the heck did you give it to Broadside instead of Obi-Wan in that situation? I was really wondering about that.
On the bump?
Yeah.
Are you talking about the turn I bumped?
Yeah.
Yeah. We were both sitting there ready for you to toss it to Obi-Wan so he could regen and
He had
basically
3
take no
force.
damage.
He's
Yeah.
like, I could just focus here all day, guys. Shoot me. We're fine
Yeah,
here.
and then instead you gave it to Broadside, which I think made Cameron kind of switch tack and go after Obi instead.
Right. That's what happened. Is I think that made Brandon
I
switch targets.
If I remember correctly, I
Cameron.
think the reason I did that with
Mhm.
Broadside was I was pushing for ensuring that Broadside could get a kill or get some points in or something like that.
I think you did get a kill that round on one of my ties. I think.
Yeah.
And I think that was the goal. Was I was trying to stack a kill on Broadside and get the stress and maybe draw fire away from Obi-Wan.
Ion's good for that.
Because if I kill a ship and I get stressed, suddenly you have rerolls against Broadside. But if you don't have rerolls against Obi-Wan, it's a much juicier target, and I'm much more willing to lose Broadside.
Well, I know that turn. I think you killed that tie the same round. Obi took that fuel leak, and I know I rolled in a shot that was hit crit on that fuel leak, which would have just immediately killed Obi-Wan.
Yep, and then I got out of it.
Then Jedi and yep, Jedi. Obi dodged it and got a dodge.
Technically, I rolled average, but force. So
yeah, of course. Yeah.
Well, Cameron, I'd just like to tell you, man, I know I'm sure you're disappointed, but great tournament, man. You played with 2 different lists. You're here in the finals. I think you had a great run, man.
Yeah, thanks. And I mean, I like this list enough that I'm running it modified a little bit into the next one.
Yeah, watch out. He's doing Dauntless and says shield upgrade. Spoiler alert.
Yeah, dude, that is a legit scary list. So I like it. I was concerned to see that hit in the final.
Well, there's so many just triple ace lists where it's just just squirrely little bastards with a lot of green dice and a lot of passive mods that kind of negate the bump advantage. Where it's like you bump a Jedi, okay, it's still got 2 to 3 force. Okay. So more shots, and now it punishes people who go after those ties. Like, oh, a TIE fighter, that's an easy kill. It's like, oh, now you're double stressed.
Right.
Right. The only thing I would say, is trade out a couple of the clouds for debris.
Yeah, I'm probably going to do that.
Because, they go over it. Oh, good. I get mods. And also, they don't get the free evade. And I think, with the cloud, with only having 2 dice attacks, the free evade is a real thing.
Yep.
Yeah, the cloud actually did me more favors than it did you.
Right.
I took the clouds mostly so that I wouldn't possibly kill my own tie, but because it does make it really easy to just 4K over it because I'm not getting my action anyway.
Right.
But yeah, I think especially with how well Jedi and other ships can reposition, I'm going to switch out to asteroids or debris.
Or debris. You get an advantage from debris. I mean, the great Paul Heaver says take the obstacles that give your list an advantage. And so that would be my thought. But I mean, you made Sloan work, dude.
I mean, Sloan is a nice deterrent. Based, depending on the ship. Sometimes the ship just doesn't care. Like Broadside is like, okay, whatever. I'm just gonna plink away at you. Or where the ship has an ability to kind of ignore the stress, like Ahsoka. But that's few and far between, and I have had cases where it's like, I could shoot you, but I'm not going to.
Right.
I remember I had Ruthless, and I used it both times it came up this time. But
I saw
was
that.
awesome.
the one round I really wanted it, and nothing was in range. I was sad. I think the biggest thing I messed up this game definitely was Rack's movement, his position, and his way his turret was pointing. I never really got any decently modded. I think I got maybe one decent mod shot off with him.
Yeah. I think at one point we were talking about that you hadn't had an action with Rack since the first move.
Yeah.
Well, dude, and then you nattied that 2-hit 2 crit into
Right.
Plo Koon
That
at
was
range
crazy.
1, and then I just triple evaded.
Yeah, and then yeah. Well, you natty evaded, I think too.
He
Didn't you?
did.
Yeah.
Both
Yeah.
of you had crazy rolls that turn.
Yeah.
But I think your list will still be strong going into Corona too, because just
Absolutely.
looking over it, there's a ton of Empire. This go around. There's a bunch of Republic also, but I looked at it. A lot of it is very clone centric.
Yeah, well, against
So-
non-force aces or against lists with only one force ace like Vader,
Yeah.
even Vader actually suffers a lot from it because he has no boost. He has much more limited. He's a worse dial. He doesn't have.
Well, he can
whatever.
take boost and extend it. He just has to spend the points.
True, but
and it's limited. He can't just do it forever like the Jedi.
Yeah, but as someone who flew Vader at Worlds, I'm telling you, the 2 boosts is all you need.
But if he's
He
stressed,
definitely fears the stress.
if he's stressed though, he
Yes.
doesn't get action after he boosts. That's the thing. Vader hurts from the stress a lot more than.
Oh, I wouldn't. Yeah, the stress would be awful. But the thing is, Vader attacks first, so Vader attacks a juicy target, and he has somebody else. One of his, stormtroopers that he hasn't throat choked, kill the TIE fighter.
Oh no, absolutely. But non-force aces really hurt from stress. They don't have
Right.
the passive force mods. And I know a lot of Vader is kind of the most the Empire Ace, but you got Suntir, who dies to range 3 pot shots and also has no force. All the defenders don't have any force, and that really hurts them because now you 4K, cool, you're still stressed.
Yeah, you don't get the free evade. Cool.
So most aces suffer from the stress, and even most non-ace force users also suffer from stress.
I think the faction that would hate to see, I know you're talking about aces, but the faction that would hate to see your list is Rebel. Because, there's so many stress mechanics with B-Wings, etc.
Oh, yeah.
Or Poe with his PTL-like ability. I think that's where they'd be like, I don't know what to do with this list other than shoot at Rack and then hope I don't die.
Yeah, it's interesting. In Target Priority, there is also an interesting thing where if you ignore all the TIE fighters, Rack, you're shooting at Rack, but you're also getting shot by those TIE fighters. And if you can burn Rack down fast enough, that's going to get you a win. Absolutely. You can burn down Rack fast enough where the TIE fighters just don't have enough time on target, you're probably going to win that game just because after Rack dies, it's probably by that point maybe 4 TIE fighters with only their passive mods.
Right.
Only their action mods, I should say, not passive mods. But also, if you burn out all the TIE fighters, now it's just a Rack. So,
right.
But you have to burn down, 3 or 4 TIE fighters to get to that point. So it's kind of a bad decision either way. And that's kind of what I liked about this list playing it was you can go after Rack and you can spend 3 or 4 turns shooting at him because he has 16 health.
Right. 17
and then,
in your case.
17 in my case. But, Corona Juice is going to be 16. But you're getting plinked away by ties, and if you stress yourself, if you're Poe or you hit DeVree or whatever, if your mechanic that stresses you, now I'm getting rerolls against you. You did a 4K, okay, I'm rerolling against you now.
So yeah, if you had Dauntless this game, it says shield upgrade. It's a different deal.
Oh,
right?
Absolutely. This game kind of reaffirmed my decision to put Dauntless on Rack because the shield upgrade's nice, but a reinforce I would have taken less damage.
Right. And you don't care about bumps, just dial in blue maneuvers, and you can just take an action every turn.
He's got the one. All you need is a 1 banker straight, and you're good on Rack.
That's a solid iteration.
Yeah.
And at that point, it just comes down to execution. how can you actually maneuver all those TIE fighters and around Rack around the other guy's list? Because that by the end of the game, that was actually becoming an issue where, okay, where can I put my TIE fighters where they're going to have a shot?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Because that turn before, end of second to last round, everything was so in that middle that I knew that space would be open, but to get there, that my TIEs move first. I can't get to that position where I really need to be to get shots. And it really kind of, I got I think 2 shots that last round because 2 of my TIE fighters were pointing off in random directions. Well,
Right.
no, one bumped a broadside, but I had a TIE fighter just kind of pointing off in the distance.
Yeah. So, I mean,
Yeah.
again, guys, just great run. Congratulations, Brandon. Thanks for letting us stream it. Enjoyed it, and look for y'all to do great things in Corona too.
Yeah, great job, both of you guys, really. And appreciate you letting us stream this. That was an awesome game.
Oh
Cool.
yeah, always. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I did not bring Jedi for Corona 2.
I mean, I'm just salty because salt.
Sure.
Nah, it's all good, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. All right. Well, have a
right.
good night, guys.
You too.
We'll
Thank
see you
y'all.
in Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah.
Why stop flipping the table? It's worked for you the whole time.
That's right.
That's right.
All right, Brandon, have a good one. Thanks, man.
All right,
you,
you too.
Mark.
Thanks, man.
Have a good night.